Welcome to This Explainer. I want you to just take a moment, maybe take a breath, and really settle in. Imagine we're stepping away from the endless noise, the frantic emails, the back-to-back meetings, and we're stepping into a quiet, reflective space together. Today, we're not going to talk about superficial corporate hacks or those quick fix tactics you see everywhere. Instead, we're focusing on cultivating a deep, presence-driven leadership. So let's dive into this practice of anchoring yourself so you can lead with true intention rather than just reacting to all the demands around you.
I really want you to let these concepts ground you. Clarity over charisma, presence over performance, depth over speed. Looking at the source material, there's this fascinating shift in how we view leadership today. It used to be all about putting on this forceful, charismatic show, right? But true leadership influence requires moving away from those reactive, performative behaviors. It's about deep internal alignment, because when you're truly aligned, you don't need to perform. You just need to be present.
Now, when leaders lose that alignment and stray from their authentic selves, they usually default to one of two pretty ineffective extremes. On one side, we've got the driving voice. This happens when a leader leans way too heavily on their ego, getting overly assertive, confrontational, and basically steamrolling everyone else. On the flip side, we have the supportive voice. This is the leader who kind of shrinks away, becoming passive and overly accommodating just because they want to please everyone. But here's the thing. Both of these are just reactions, and both literally pull you away from your true capacity to lead. So what does this all mean? It means the crucial point is finding that sweet spot between the two extremes, which brings us to your signature voice. This is the ultimate goal of our practice today. Your signature voice is this incredibly unique means of self-expression that beautifully balances two things. First, internal authority, which is your voice for yourself. And second, relational discernment, your voice for others. It's a presence that honors your own inherent value, while at the exact same time deeply respecting the human dignity of the people around you.
So how do we actually cultivate this alignment? Well, we use a structured practice called the ACE framework. We'll be looking at cultivating alignment through assumptions, communication, and energy. Let's start with the first pillar. Part 1 is A for assumptions, and this is exactly where we cultivate our internal authority. You see, before you even step foot into a room or open your mouth, your internal assumptions about your own worth are already setting the stage for how you're going to lead. This mental conditioning is absolutely vital. You've got to continually clarify your distinct personal value. Being crystal clear on your unique value proposition builds this quiet, grounded confidence. And when you're internally secure like that, you completely eliminate the need to overcompensate. You don't need to dominate the conversation with that reactive, driving voice. Instead, you simply rest in a self-assured, mature presence. Moving right along to part 2, we have C for communication. This is how we practice relational discernment. If assumptions act as your internal voice, communication is what connects that voice to the outside world. True alignment here means shifting away from mere assertion and moving towards structured advocacy and deep, genuine connection. To do this, you have to master listening across 3 distinct depths. First up is surface listening, which is just taking words at face value. Second is issues-based listening, where you cut through the clutter and focus on what actually matters. But the third one, emotions-based listening, is where true relational discernment happens. This involves reading the underlying emotions and uncovering the real agendas at play. When you can listen at this depth, your team feels genuinely, profoundly heard. It's a real game changer. Finally, we reach part 3 of our framework, E for energy, which focuses on sustaining grounded presence. Here's the reality. You can have all the right assumptions and use all the right words, but if your energy is chaotic, your leadership presence is going to fracture. Sustaining a grounded presence requires a really profound level of self-awareness. You have to understand the physical and emotional energy you're bringing into a room. Think about it. A driving voice is usually fueled by this high-octane reactive energy that intimidates colleagues and just creates friction. But when you consciously regulate that reactive energy, you project a calm, stable equilibrium. This perfectly balances your internal strength with external approachability, creating an environment where people are actually receptive to your influence.
I want to pause right here and just offer you a moment of spaciousness for reflection. Ask yourself, where is your default energy pulling you away from a grounded presence? Are you shrinking back, or are you maybe pushing a bit too hard? And more importantly, how can you return to your signature voice today? Just take a breath with that thought for a second. True presence isn't just developed in isolation, It's refined in connection with others. So I invite you to take this refined, aligned presence out of this reflective space and bring it into meaningful dialogue with your own community. Think about it. How will your team respond when you show up not with a performance, but with your true signature voice? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. If you found this practice valuable, definitely subscribe and join us for more leadership insights.